Welcome to Movie Shortened. Follow us today to a 1985 post-apocalyptic science fiction film called The Quiet Earth. Before we start, be aware, there are spoilers. Our story begins with a man named Zach Hobson waking up in a motel apartment. He can't find any stations on the radio. He calls reception, but no one answers. Zach then drives his car and stops for petrol at a service station, which seems to be unattended. He looks in the workshop, all through the building, but can't find anyone. In the kitchen, the electric jug is almost boiled dry. The toilet door is locked, but no one is in there. He drives down the empty street beeping his horn, but there's no one in sight. He stops at a house and goes to have a look. He breaks the glass in the back door to get inside, but the house is empty. It's as if everyone has just disappeared. As he drives down the highway, he almost hits an abandoned semi-trailer. He calls on the truck's two-way radio, but there's no answer. He drives into the city, but again, there's no one in sight. Only empty vehicles here and there. He finds a large pile of burning building rubble, and when he has a closer look, it seems like a passenger jet has crashed there, but there is no sign of any bodies or survivors. Zach drives to the satellite research station where he works, but once again, it looks deserted. He opens the computer to contact the other research stations around the world, but none of them are responding. He prints out a memo from the printer, which says something about proceeding with Project Flashlight as scheduled. He goes down to the sub-basement level and looks at another computer which says Operation Flashlight complete. Zach goes to the grid control room and sees someone in there called Perrin, but when he turns the chair around, he finds that Perrin is very dead, with bulging eyes and burned hands. Immediately, an announcement says there is a radiation danger and the lab will be sealed. Zach runs to the elevator, but he's too late. It's closed. He has a plan. He finds a gas burner and some large cylinders of flammable gas. He lights the burner and turns on the gas, then runs for cover. Zach finds a recording device with a statement from someone saying that there has been information withheld regarding Operation Flashlight. He records his own voice, stating that he believes he may be the only person left alive on Earth. Before he can finish his recording, the gas bottles explode with devastating effects. He finds an escape hatch and climbs out from below the facility. Zach finds a local radio station and goes into a broadcast room and sends a message with his name, address, and phone number for anyone who is listening to contact him immediately. Then we see Zach painting his name, address, and phone number on a large billboard. He sits at home waiting, but no one calls. Then we see Zach driving a police car and talking over the PA loudspeaker for anyone to come forward, but there's no one in sight. It's evening and raining, and we find Zach walking down a city street playing a saxophone. Later, he's sitting at home alone and just waiting and listening to his own radio broadcast. He decides he should find a more upmarket residence in which to stay. The next morning, we see Zach waking up in a beautiful big house in a more exclusive area of the city. As he drinks his champagne and egg for breakfast, he sees a sudden flash of light. Now, Zach is going to have some fun. We see him driving a car through a shopping mall doing some shopping, but of course not paying for anything. In the toy shop, playing with toy trains gives him an idea. Now, we see him driving a real train. Next, we see him playing snooker and pretending he's playing against someone else. Back in the bedroom, he starts to fantasize and tries on some women's clothing. Now, he's watching a video of a man talking about conspiracy theories of power held by the other side. Zach lifts a shotgun and blasts the TV screen at the same time, knocking himself backwards out of the chair. Now, Zach starts to lose the plot and thinks someone is after him. He fantasizes again, sets up audio tape decks, and places cutout figures of past world leaders on the front lawn. He stands on the upper balcony and pretends he is the president of the Earth. As he stands on the balcony in tears, the power goes off everywhere. The next morning, we see Zach walking around on the field of a large football stadium wearing a woman's undergarment. Now, he rushes into a church with a shotgun, looking for someone, maybe God. He stands before a crucifixion, threatening to kill the kid unless he comes out. Then he starts shooting the crucifixion. Now he thinks he is God. I think he's really lost the plot now. We see Zach driving a large excavator through a building and running over a pram. He imagines what would have happened had there been a baby in the pram. Momentarily, he considers shooting himself. Next, we see Zach swimming at the beach, then he gets himself cleaned up. He sets up the house for electricity with a large portable generator. As he's collecting some gardening supplies, he thinks he hears a noise, but maybe he's just imagining it. Now, we see Zach in a new house by the sea. He checks the computer for the chemical content and condition of the outside environment. Suddenly, he hears a noise and turns around to find a girl standing in the doorway holding a pistol pointed at him. The woman, called Joan, tells him it's not real. Then she walks in and they embrace each other. both so glad to find another human being. They sit and talk about their experiences when they first realize that everyone had disappeared. As they talk, Joan falls asleep on the sofa. The next morning, they load up the utility truck and make small talk. Joan drives because Zach is hungover from too much champagne the night before. They find the scene of an accident where a man has gone through the windscreen of his car, and a woman has died whilst trying to call for help on a two-way radio. Both are dead. They stop at a motel for the night. While Zach is cooking dinner, they talk about the possibility of finding other people alive. The next morning, they find a car for Joan to drive, and they both go in search of other people. At one point in time, they both experience a strange feeling. That night, they theorize about what may have happened. The following morning, Zach wakes up in a motel room to the phone ringing. Joan is pretending to be the receptionist. She opens the door and brings Zach breakfast in bed. It looks like they've spent the night together. Later, they both drive around looking for people yet again. While Joan is looking through a hospital, Zach is parked and recording some information of changes in the fabric of the universe. As Zach drives to meet Joan, he finds some roads blocked. When he reverses out of a lane, a truck rolls out and blocks his way. As he takes a closer look, a man with a baklava and a gun jumps out and takes him captive. Zach tells him he's alone, but then Joan calls on the radio and the man named Appy realizes Zach lied to him. They go together to find Joan. As Zach walks over to meet Joan, Appy hides behind a pole, but then he shows himself. When Appy realizes that they are no threat, he walks towards them and they hug each other. Now, we see them driving down the road together, enjoying each other's company. That night, they're camped around a fire, and Appy tells Zach and Joan about his friend and himself fighting and how he left his body and watched the fight from above. How he was traveling towards a light, but then he regained consciousness and his friend was gone. Joan says that she experienced something similar. Zach thinks back to when he woke up in bed, and it looks like he may have taken an overdose of tablets. Each one of them had a near-death experience at the time of the effect, which caused everyone else to disappear. Later, they find a large hall, and Appy plays the piano while Zach and Joan dance. They go to bed, but Joan wakes up to find Appy is not in his bed. She goes for a walk and finds him saying prayers over a nearby grave, so she goes back to bed. The next morning, Zach is studying the oscillations of the sun and believes the sun may soon collapse. Meanwhile, Joan and Appy are out jogging. Joan is telling Appy about her theories on friendship. Then she asks him the reason his friend had tried to kill him. Appy tells her it was because he had killed his friend's wife. She asks him why he did it, and he tells her it was necessary. Now, she sees him in a different light. Now, we see Zach loading up the truck to leave. He tries to explain things to Joan, but she's still upset over Appy. Zach and Appy have words about who is in charge, so Zach jumps in the truck and drives off. Appy chases after him in another truck, then Joan follows the two of them in a smaller car. As they're driving, Appy listens to Zach's recording about the changes in the sun. Appy runs Zach off the road and Joan grabs a gun from Appy's truck and fires a shot near them to stop them from fighting. Zach tells Appy he knew there was something wrong with Operation Flashlight. Appy realizes that Zach had tried to kill himself. As the three of them drive down the road together, Zach explains that the Americans had withheld information about the project. Appy doesn't trust Zach because he didn't tell him and Joan the truth about the danger. We see them in a facility where Zach is looking at data on a computer. He tells Joan that he believes the effect will happen again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Suddenly, something strange happens and Joan can't find Zach or Appy. They've both disappeared. After a few moments, things return to normal. Appy has a plan. Now we see them blasting the door off a large shed. Inside the shed, they find tons of gelignite in boxes, so they load them onto a truck. That night, they drive to the satellite research station. As they drive, Joan tells Zach about the truth about Appy's friend. His friend's wife was in love with Appy, but Appy rejected her, so she killed herself. Appy's friend blamed Appy for her death. They come to a fuel truck blocking the road, but Appy pushes it out of the way, then they continue. As they get closer, Zach's instruments tell him that the research station is behaving like a microwave oven, and if the truck of gelignite gets too close, it might explode too soon. They drive together in the small truck to a small watchtower near the research station. Zach tells them he has equipment back in the city that can take the truck in by remote control. He drives off alone, leaving Joan and Appy in the watchtower. Just then, they hear the truck approaching. They run outside to see Zach driving the truck down to the research station. As Zach gets closer, the ground gives way and the truck cabin falls down into the facility. Zach reaches for the ignition switch and sets off the explosives. The research station is destroyed, and we see what looks like the effect happening again. The last thing we see is Zach waking up on a beach somewhere with strange cloud formations in the sky and Saturn rising in the background. Is Zach really dead? Or is he in heaven? What do you think? Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. That really helps my channel. Thanks for watching.